All right, this one's nice. We don't need interval notation. It just says, hey, please tell us what can't be included in the domain. State the excluded values from the domain. It's going to have this type of wording on the assignment. Expect it, okay? Now, remember, though, since I'm looking for exclusions in the domain, I don't care about the numerator. So even though possibly that could be factored, possibly not, I don't care if it can be, because I'm just looking for the domain, all right? So on this one, I would look at just the denominator, which is x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x. And then I look to factor it. Now, on the last example, we saw that the leading coefficient was a phantom 1. Now, well, it still is, by the way. But I noticed that I have x's in all three of the terms. So I know also that I should be able to take out an x from all three of the terms. Okay, so what am I left with then? The first term, I took out one of the x's, so now I've got x to the power of 2. The next term, I had x to the power of 2, so I'm just left with the x. We didn't do anything with the positive 7. And then the final term, we took out its x, so we're just left with the 10. All right, so I yanked out an x. Okay, now, what does that mean? We'll get to it. We'll get to it. And I think we've seen it a little bit a couple slides ago. But here now, I see that my leading coefficient is 1. And so I should be able to just take this and split it up into two binomials without having to go through factoring by grouping. But if you need factoring by grouping, always do it. It's a legitimate way to do things, even at this point, okay? So since I have leading coefficient of 1, I've got x's. But then I have to ask myself, what two factors of 10 would add up to 7?
5 times 2.
Yep. Well, I did 2 times 5. But it doesn't matter which order you put them in. Sorry, they had them written. But yeah, we got a positive 2 and a positive 5. And yeah, the order doesn't matter right there. Okay, so we did factor out the denominator. Okay, so again, you could have rewritten this fraction. Again, I don't really care about the numerator, but then you could have written it like this. And sometimes just seeing it like this is like, wow, that is freaking awesome. Look what I did. And you want to post that on the fridge. But it's not done yet, okay? Don't be finished yet. You got to make sure that this denominator does not equal 0, right? The good news is we just want excluded values. But we got three, we kind of have three polynomials here. We got this monomial right here, the x. We got the binomial x plus 2, and then this binomial x plus 5. I know not everyone needs all this extra work that I'm going to do to solve them, but I'm still going to, okay? So the first up, I'm going to start with the x. I know that x in red, I just can't make it equal to 0. That's it. I don't need to solve that as an equation. It's done. It's just x equals something or doesn't equal something in this case. But then I've got the binomial x plus 2. I need to make sure that couldn't equal 0, because if it did, it would make the whole denominator 0, which we don't want. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, zeroing that out. Then my x, I know, could not equal negative 2. And then finally, I've got this last one, x plus 5. I need to make sure it could not equal 0. So, I should use a different color here. Not just because it's pretty, but just to separate the work there. So minus 5 from both sides. So now x could not, because that zeroes out, x could not equal negative 5. So I believe on the assignment it's going to have something like this. It's going to say x cannot equal, then it's going to have a box that you fill in. All right, just list your values, and I believe it doesn't matter what order they're in. You got 0, it could not equal 0, negative 2, or negative 5. So I went from greatest to leastest. You could go from leastest to greatest, or you could make it randomized if you really want to feel like you want to do that, because it doesn't matter. But
And is that how we'd enter it in the homework?
I think this is just, you just have a box to put just these values in.
Okay.
You wouldn't need to do the x doesn't equal.